I know there's no jack! No jack! Now that we have that out of the way. Good afternoon. The Galaxy Note 10 has just been announced, and I know, like we already covered it. I don't want to hear a word that there's no jack. I don't like it. Now let's move on. One thing that I noticed that they didn't even mention at all, they didn't call attention to it in the slightest, but if you look at the top of the handset, it shows a very familiar looking little black hole, and I'm not talking about the microphone at the top. It appears that they've brought back the infrared blaster, which is super freaking exciting because the last Note that they had this on was the Note 4, and the Note 4, and the last phone that they had this on was the S6 series. So the fact that they're bringing back the infrared transmitter, I hate calling it a IR blaster. It's the IR blaster. No, it's a transmitter. It transmits the, never mind, whatever. But they brought it back. They brought it back, and I'm super stoked about it. At least I hope that's what it is. Otherwise, it's some strange looking hole that's way too big to be the hole for the microphone at the top of the phone, but whatever. One thing secondly, I noticed that the tip of the S Pen looks better than the last versions. I know that's a really minute detail, but it just looks a little fatter and more pen-like than previous versions, so that's a plus. They didn't really touch on if it was like more sensitive in this area or that area. However, as I both expected and hoped, they added a new nice little trick to the little dog that is, that was a bad joke. They added something new. It's either a 4 or 6 axis accelerometer to the pen itself, which means gesture control. So not only can you do the same things with the button that you could with the Note 9, but with the Note 10, now if you want to like zoom in, you can be like, press the button. I think that's how it works, but anyway, you can like do this and like switch it from the back to the front, or just like go like this, change camera modes. So it's not like, you know, say you get your phone up on a tripod or you rest it on a shelf or something, and you're like, okay, everybody, new grip together. Oh, it's not in wide angle mode. Hold on. Then you have to walk over there and then change the mode and then set it back up and be like, okay, everybody ready now? And then, you know, all of a sudden this person who's in the group, their little kid who they left with their husband starts crying and then they can't do it. Like, it's way easier now. You can be like, whoop, whoop, that's wide angle mode. Click, done. Badass. Like, that's super freaking exciting. Also, they partnered with YouTube, and YouTube now also can have the gesture controls with the S Pen. So if you like got it on your desk at work or whatever, or on your lunch break, and you're just blip, 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 like next video, pause, rewind, fast forward, that kind of thing, yeah. That's awesome. And like they did with the camera SDK when the S10 came out for apps like Instagram and Snapchat, on the night of August 7th, they will be releasing that SDK for the gesture controls for other app developers, so other app developers can use those as well, which is super exciting. It's kind of like future-proofing that feature, you know, it's not just a gimmick. Not a gimmick! The standard Note 10 will have a 6.3-inch screen. The Note 10 Plus will have a 6.8-inch screen. Biggest screen they've ever put on a Note. Now, if I'd have to look, but off the top of my head, I can't remember if 6.8 is the dimensions for the S10 Plus 5G. I'm assuming it is. We're just gonna go with it, the fact that it is. And if I'm wrong, just tell me in the comments because people love telling other people that they're wrong. So, you're welcome. They made the camera cutout a lot smaller, and the little animation that they put for it was kind of nice, making that quite a bit smaller. Yes, yes indeed. Little dot, and of course they put it into the middle. I didn't put a whole lot of effort into reporting or making videos about like leaks or rumors and stuff, just because they don't really excite me that much. Because I don't know for sure if they're true. I don't care if you're like, this is the most reliable leaker ever. I was like, okay, yeah, but I want to see what they actually say. Now that they've actually said it, yes, it is in the middle, and yes, it's quite a bit smaller than than the S10 series. They have added several new colors to the Note 10 line, and the one that they, you know how the Prism White that they did for the S10 series? Prism Glow, no, it's called Aura Glow. This one looks even more pimpin' than the Prism White does because it does, as you move it around, it reflects all kinds of like, almost every shade, you know, the Roy G. Biv, that kind of thing. Even I might consider that one. Just because I'm not really like a white phone fan, but I might even consider that color if I was getting the Note 10. One point of conflict Is this still going, Roll? Okay, cool. One point of conflict that I noticed is that they removed the power button. Well, they didn't remove the power button. It's like they moved it and replaced the Bixby button with the power button. So, I mean, as I'm sitting here right now, here's where the power button's going to be. No, excuse me. Here's where the power button's going to be on the Note 10. And I think that with the S10 series, they moved the button too far up on the right side of the phone. So the fact that they're moving it down lower, that's cool, but you're also like, what if somebody's a longtime Samsung user like myself, they're used to using this finger to, are we focused? Yeah, we're focused. To turn the phone on and off. Now we're gonna have to make that kind of adjustment. However, I mean, let's be honest, 2 weeks from now, after you start, or 2 weeks from after you start using it, it's not gonna be a problem anymore. So, cool, I suppose. A lot of people have a lot of hate for Bixby and the Bixby button, even though you can remap it now, so there's no reason to bitch about it. But there you go. Another thing I found particularly badass about some of the software changes, but it's not even the most badass part, and I'll show you that in a minute, is the fact that Samsung Notes can now export in PDF and text and Word document formats, which means that like, it's in my Samsung Notes, blah, 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 blah. And then some iPhone user is like, yeah, but I can't use that. So you can't just like send it to this person. Now you can just export it, email it to them, and then everything you put down in Samsung Notes, PDF, Word form, Word document, editable by just about any computing device that has a display nowadays. Freaking cool. Yes. Also, they didn't really go into a whole lot of detail about it, but the text editing just, it's, how do I say it? It's easier to edit text and change aspects. Like, for example, they showed, changing the text color on something. It appears that they've put a lot of effort into making that process easier and take less time and be less like tedious and easy to mess up. As far as the camera goes, yes, they've gone vertical with their camera arrangement. I do not know why. I kind of wish they hadn't. However, as expected and as we knew you could on the S10 5G, the S10 Plus 5G, so many syllables, you now, just like the S10 Plus 5G, have the ability to use live focus while recording audio. That's something that as soon as I heard that the S10 Plus 5G was going to have that, and consequently, obviously the Note 10 was going to have it, so it's not like super much of a surprise, but just knowing that, God, you can do that, like that is badass. I'm stoked about that. And something that they didn't really have on the S10 Plus 5G, or that, not to my knowledge at least, if they did, they didn't advertise it, is that now not only can you zoom in like, but you can also zoom in on sound as well. So if somebody's like over here talking and you're like, then apparently what's supposed to happen is that the audio from that person speaking is also supposed to get louder, which is, I want to see that work because that sounds stupidly exciting. They showed, or they now have a built-in video editing suite is what they called it on the Note 10. And when it showed a few very brief clips of someone editing video on this phone, it looked very strikingly similar to how Adobe Premiere Rush looks. So I'm like, either their partnership with Adobe runs a little deeper than they let on, or they just kind of made their own thing and modeled it very, very closely after Adobe Premiere Rush. Either way, if it's integrated into the phone even more, then it's one less app you have to open, it's one less app that you have to like go, like open up, okay, find media, blah, 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 import, get the music, blah, blah. Now it's just, yeah. Premiere Rush or like stock Samsung software, it's now more built in than it was before, which makes it easier to edit video. And that's really the bottom line, is it not? And if there were to be a gimmick in this entire keynote, it would be the fact that I still think it's pimping, like it's baller, but you can now like draw these stickers into the viewfinder while they're like sitting there, and you can switch between face and everything. So when you go on face, then it will show the like a large area in the viewfinder where you need to put whatever subject you're looking at, and then take the pen out and draw inside that area. And then when the person moves around, the stuff will move with them. And if they hide their face and then reveal it again, it'll disappear and then come back again. Like that's cool. But when you switch it to everything mode, and then you physically walk forward and then step backwards while drawing, then you can move the camera back and forth, and like it's a 3D The camera knows you moved forward or backwards, so it's like an AR maps. It's freaking badass. I don't even know how to describe this with proper words, but I'm just really glad that this time I actually recorded the keynote so you can see a video example for yourself. But that's cool. Will everybody use it past the first week or two? I don't know. But the fact that it can even do that, that's awesome. But the most impressive thing about this phone's camera that they showed in this keynote is the 3D scanning ability. So they took an example, a plushie that they had on this flat surface, and he walked around it so the phone could 3D scan it, and then actually showed a real-time view of the phone 3D scanning it, which was really awesome because it did not feel like that real-time, feed was embellished or faked or what's the word, like enhanced at all for marketing purposes. It looked like a very true to life representation of what the phone was doing, and I dig that. And, excuse me, so after he got through circling around this thing, it rendered the 3D model of what it was scanning to a stunning degree of accuracy for a freaking smartphone, okay? And then, I was like, bah! But not only could it do that, but then, if you enable, like, rigging, then it takes the object you just scanned, and then the camera, like, looked at one of the assistants there, and the assistant started doing a little boogie, right? So did the 3D animated, or the 3D model object that the phone just mapped itself. Like, what the dude? And then it pointed it to a screen that had somebody dancing, and the animated thing did the thing that the person was doing. So it's not like, oh, I need a real world example so I can properly map the movement. No. Just point it at anything, screen or real life or otherwise, and it will freaking map the movements. So if you have that favorite plushie toy that you've had since you were a kid, put that on a flat surface, then scan it, and then you have like a moving emoji that will do whatever the you want it to do. Just the applications, and not just that. And I know that 3D, I know that not everybody has a 3D printer, right? I mean, it's kind of a, what is it? It's not a commodity, but a niche, a very niche thing. But you can send those 3D renderings to the 3D camera, no, 3D printer, and print those. Like, So if I wanted to, let's see, what's a good example? So I go to QuakeCon or something, right? I see a replica of one of my favorite weapons in that game. I 3D scan it by walking around and blah, 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 as long as it's, in an environment where it's scannable. And then I save that. Then I take it home to my 3D printer. The rest is history. Like, I know, again, it's a very niche application for it, but again, just the fact that it can do that it blows me away. Blows me away. I was like, whoa, no way. But on to some of the things that it can do internally. It has apparently a huge heat sink inside this thing, so when it's playing games like, now it showed things about like Call of Duty mobile, and I didn't know for sure, I'm not a huge mobile gamer, so I don't know for sure if that was already out, but it used that as an example. But point being, they have taken an even greater amount of effort to make sure that the phone does not get super hot, kind of like I am right now. God. They've also added a new little feature that the guys on Discord and I freaked out about too. They are integrated with Discord, so you can essentially use it through Samsung's game launcher app, while in game. Basically the same thing as you can do on a freaking computer. That was super cool. Now I don't know the extent of that functionality because it didn't go into a whole lot of detail about it, but still, the fact that it's even there and will probably grow in the future just because software is prime. I'm running out of positive adjectives and expletives to use to describe all this stuff. The CPU in the Note 10 has up to 33% more than the Note 9 does, and the GPU has up to 42% more power than the Note 9. Along with the large heatsink, good stuff. Super good stuff. Kind of expected just because it's the next iteration, but it's nice to know that it's that much more powerful instead of 15%. Now they said that the Note 10 has up to 45 watts fast charging, so it could be, they didn't specifically say Note 10 or well, I don't know, they say, Actually, I'd have to watch it again. Fudge. The Note 10 is now supposed to support super fast wireless charging, and they didn't go into a whole lot of detail of the wattage of that. And because I'm not like really privy on the science of wireless charging, I don't know if that even translates from wired to wireless. But it said that the Note 10 Plus, not Note 10, can do up to 45 watts fast charging, like with a cable. So I don't know what that means for the regular Note 10. I don't know what up to means. Maybe they're just like trying to CYA for variances that might come up. But still, it is possible to get the higher wattage of fast charging with the cable. And that's something I've heard a lot of people complain about that they haven't done yet. So plus, or kudos, or whichever. At first, we thought there was only going to be two variants, the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus, but then, like halfway through, about 3/4 of the way through, they mentioned the Note 10 Plus 5G. So there are actually a total of 3 variants so far that they have announced. They went into some other things about like Microsoft integration with the Note 10, eventually being able to like take and make calls on your Microsoft computer. And I know that that some level of Windows integration with Samsung has been possible for a while, but I feel like the way they're doing it here is more integrated and less reliant on external apps that you can download as like an option. You know what I mean? Also, DeX can now work on MacBooks as well, which was super surprising to me. Actually, I mean, kind of not. Just because, number one, it's surprising to me that Apple would even allow DeX to work on their laptops because they're heads. And number two, and it's not surprising because Samsung plays well with others. That's just how they do. Oh, one of the other key differences between the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus. The Note 10 Plus is the one with the depth vision, the 3D sensing stuff. The Note 10 will not have that, which is super bummer, but it is what it is. The Note 10 has a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, and the Note 10 Plus has a 4,300 milliamp hour battery. Quite a hefty change from the 3,000 milliamp hour days. I remember those. Hey, I haven't vlogged in quite a while, and I kind of tried to get the groove back, just because it was like, meh, a bunch of personal stuff that I don't want to get into. But I made one. It's like 3 minutes long, and there's no dialogue whatsoever. And if you've ever seen Jay and Silent Bob before, I was like, I could call it Tay and Silent Vlog. So I put it on the non-tech channel, for those of you who are interested. Overall, super excited about the phone. It's got some like amazingly... Again, I'm out of what is this? I'm out of positive adjectives to describe all the cool stuff. Will I be getting it? Probably not, just because I'm still paying for my S10. But do I want it? Yeah, I do. Well, you know who else might want it? The Scotties on Patreon, the ones who pledge $10 or more per month. And they are Joe Schmo, Jared Elder Studios, Derek D, Ian Lewis, Paul Donnelly, Mario Torres, Jatinder Lal, Anthony Jackson, Eric Price, Stephen Nichols, Nick Hawks, Sin O, Unit Omega, and Christopher Caswell.
I stay with my Scotties. My Scotties are my boys. I ride with them. And I put that on the generation.
Next, we have the Super Beamers, the ones that pledge $5 per month, and they are... Actually, I have 2 new ones! Welcome and thank you, Eddie Ramirez and... Ultra Sarker. That's Sarker, not Sucker. Then we have Samsung 0804, Stephen Cameron, Colin House, SolarStar81, Paradoxed, and Grant Stockton. And last but totally not least, we have the Beamers, the ones that pledge $1 per month, and they are Encrypted Bunny, Vincent Papineau, Spidget, Jamie Ives, Roman Van Rookhuizen, Nicholas Clark, and David Larson. Comment if you're going to upgrade, and stay beaming. Hold on, I'm getting more wine. Excuse me. Or they will be releasing it tonight, or on the tonight of I just got distracted. Oh, hold on. The leg of my ottoman is like bent. There we go. Okay, where did those specs go? Discord. Oh, what? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? 30 seconds. No. Let me do this. God, I did not want to get this shirt super sweaty, but apparently it's gonna happen. There it is. Looking for the Patreons. Get it. Oh, that's a little too small. Hold on. Next, we have the Super Beamers, the ones that pledged $5 or more. Paradoxed Grant Stuck.